A pilgrim in Austin, Texas. Overcast sky, 30 degrees, 4 kilometers along a lake. They had a story to tell. 3 words became an idea. The idea became an app. No one asked them to build it. They just did. That is already more than most people managed today.
Hello world. That's what you say as a programmer trying to make an app for the first time, and that's the first message that you give out to the world. So it's appropriate, I guess, for this podcast to say hello world on the pilgrim on the path. So the idea of this is when people are doing a walk, they can talk, and the talk, presumably, if it fits the right amount of talk time, there's an eligibility for you to submit your talk, which will get curated and be part of the Pilgrim on the Path podcast, which will be on a separate page called podcast.pilgrimapp.org, where you can see all of the podcasts, which also gets distributed to various platforms like Apple, Spotify. And there's no goal, just pilgrims anonymously submitting their talks about life, about general anything. It could be literally anything, and just various walks of life. Anonymously. It doesn't need to know who you are. They're just getting to know someone out there in the world about this. And the first episode, I feel like, is a great place to introduce why Pilgrim, why the app, how it came about, what was the inspiration, and why I feel other people might want this, which basically I built it for myself, and see how it changes people. I feel like there's a great change. Right now it's already happening, but also just planetary shifts. Astrologically, there's big happening. I see it around in a lot of people's lives currently, and it's happening. So I feel like it's a great time to reflect, to talk, to walk and talk, also meditate. And that's the whole concept behind this whole thing, is walk, talk, meditate. And I guess that's where we start, is how it originated. And I think how the whole concept originated was, I went to a Tynan superhuman event, and it was just people brainstorming what they could do with their business, with their life. Could be anything, about personal life, about their business. I didn't really have anything until it was my turn to speak, and I blurted out that I want to do like a pilgrimage service kind of business, but it's almost like Donna based as well. At that time, it wasn't really fleshed out or anything. It was just an idea, because a friend had asked me to do something like that for their teaching, for their guides, for their students. And I feel like that's something I want to do. That's actually pretty cool, but I never really put in the time and effort to really think about how it goes. And after the superhuman event, I was chatting with one of the other guys there. His name is Shaggy, super cool dude. You can tell from his name, like very cool, genuine dude. And we kept in touch and chatted, and he was asking about how I am working towards that. And the idea didn't really sprung until after our conversation, because of what I read from Kevin Kelly and Dan something, totally forgot his name, but they originated this concept of walk and talk, where Kevin Kelly, he basically takes a small group of friends and go on this like 7 to 10 day journey, mostly in Asia. It could be anywhere, and they just walk, talk throughout the whole day, from walking from one hotel to the next, and while having all their luggages carried by a transportation company to go to the next hotel. And that's all they do, so they can be really light and just discuss various things that come up, which is, in a sense, that's what a pilgrimage is you're walking. It could be by yourself, it could also be with someone else, and things will come up. The environment will teach you, the environment kind of shapes you, and whatever kind of ideas or whatever you bottled up will surface up. And that's why people go through breakthroughs on these pilgrimage routes. And it could be shared with other people too. So that's essentially what Kevin Kelly is doing, which I greatly admire. I thought the concept was great. And then it didn't come to me until later, after conversation with Shaggy. All of a sudden, I feel like something is missing. I always like the number 3, so anything with 3s, there's something magical about that, I feel like. And you can see in video games, like a Zelda game, you hit a boss 3 times, to kill it. And there's other, I can't really think of on top of my head right now, but there's all kinds of other things that are all grouped in 3s, which is kind of amazing. So that's why I added the meditate part, because there are times during the walk talk where you might want to just sit still and enjoy the moment, get the feel, the vibe of the environment that you're in. And it could be a park, a bench somewhere quiet. You're just enjoying the moment and just meditate. And that's why the meditate part is the additional part. And I feel like during a group session, could also do a group meditation together, which is awesome. So I bought the 2 domains, walktalkmeditate.org, walktalkmeditate.com, and that was that. And I kind of set up initially like a small MD book styled, almost like a readme kind of thing, just to verbalize out my idea, put it out there on the webpage. I think I submitted on Hacker News, and then it gained some, it was like an open repo, it gained some people who were interested, some stars, and didn't really touch anything beyond that. It was like 2 years ago. I still see the Git history. It was like 2 years ago. Didn't touch ever since. And now after I came back from this trip that I was on, I was like searching for things to do. And this is a great period because of the transformational shift with AI. And I always like read about AI and what the capability is, but actually never really use the agentic way to code, like Cloud Code and stuff, like using the CLI. I really like using CLI and stuff. I just never did the CLI until recently in February, that I really took the plunge and bought Claude Max to see the capability. And to tell you the truth, that in the beginning I was kind of apprehensive, like, can I really do this? Is it really that powerful? There's all these doubts in my mind, until I started just playing around with it and built my first web app that basically I was taught myself how to speak Japanese. And there's not much out there in terms of production, like produce Japanese sentences and getting corrected. So I built an app just for that, for myself, and then productized it and put it out there. And then it's crazy, the MVP was built in I think 2 days. And I really kind of put the bows and ribbons on top. It took like a week. And I remember I was going to a Holiday Inn hotel because my parents has these like free nights that it was gonna go to waste. So I just randomly booked a hotel just to check out a nearby town. But instead I just locked myself in the Holiday Inn and just programmed. And then I remember releasing it, like basically doing a 1.0 release, and it was great. I felt such energy. There's so much, I felt like energy when programming with Claude, because there's not a disruption / a middleman to gatekeep whatever you need to do, because some of the skills that you might not have and you might need to ask someone to do so, but now it's completely removed. Like anything you can think of or anything you can't even think of, but you can ask and it will produce. Like, it's crazy. I feel like it's the time of dreamer to manifest into reality with these AI coding agents. You can literally, it does everything for me. So the second app, I was like, after the first one, I was looking for another project to do. And in the beginning, it was hard to actually spend all these tokens because I bought the max, the $200 thing. It was like, it's so hard to spend all the tokens. But now I am just blowing through, not that crazy, but almost maxing out kind of thing. And so for the second project I was looking to build like a meditation app. And I never built an iOS or any mobile device app. And I picked, I think, native to build it for both Android as well as iOS, and just kind of brainstorm with Claude to see all the features, what I liked. I just kept brainstorming until the doc becomes so big. And when it's time to execute, Claude tried to execute, but it just failed miserably. Like it wasn't good. Like the app, it looks crap, and it doesn't work. Like there's like so much bugs just from the initial thing that I built, and it's nothing like the first app that I built. So I thought it was like a failure. I was a little bit down about that, and then I was like searching for another idea related to housing, and I was like asking Claude about that, and we started brainstorming about that until a Friday night. A friend previously invited me to this like writers meetup group, and where I met a bunch of writers and their friends that they brought. And when people ask me, so what do you do? I say, I'm moving to Japan and starting a pilgrimage business. And one of the girls I talked to, she said, oh, you have to meet Mel, who's actually doing what you're saying. She's actually gathering groups and lead them on pilgrimages. So she was going to introduce me, but she went off to talk to someone else and never got the chance. But coincidentally, I met Mel just without really realizing that, and we started talking, and we just like talking about, it seems like we know a lot of the same stuff, and some of the things that we know we can't really share with other people because of, I guess, like context in a sense, because people don't know, and then you have to provide all the context of what that is. But we kind of clicked because we know about the background, the context of it all. So she does pilgrimage. I think she led 2, and she said during one of her meditation, she heard a voice that said Camino, and she didn't even know what Camino was at that time. And so she researched, and then she did the pilgrimage and changed her life. So now she want to provide that to other people. So it gave me that kind of, like, that inspiration right there was born. Like I have so at the same time, throughout the years, I've been gathering all of these domains. So I have pilgrimages, like with the dot between the A and the G, and then with the dot between the E, or between the G and the E, like pilgrimage and pilgrimages, and some other ones. Anyways, so I thought it was kind of right to do this. And so immediately that night, I got the inspiration. I started immediately chatting with Claude after I got home. It was like 11 or midnight after I got home, where I have so much energy that I started archetyping all this out. And somewhere along the line, I felt like an app was needed. That was, I always kind of dreamed that this would be something, even if when I provide the pilgrimage service, it would be good to have some kind of app. So somewhere along there, that was the seed that got germinated. And then the next thing I worked on was the Pilgrim app. So I tried to search for the domain Pilgrim. So pilgrim.app was taken and someone was selling it for like $5,000. And then pilgrimapp.com was taken for like a Muslim pilgrimage thing. And then pilgrimapp.org wasn't. So bam, I knew it had to be like a free thing because it's like a gift to the world. I shouldn't charge anything for it because people already have their device. So why charge them right now, especially because of the ability to rapidly prototype, rapidly put your idea down to form, which is a beautiful thing to do. And it's almost like a creative art for me that I'm able to do this. And it's my first iOS app ever, first like mobile app ever. So before I had this app that I kind of saved called Outrun, which is a very minimal app, like an iOS only app that tracks your activities, like a health tracker, like a walk, run, bike, those kind of tracker. And I thought it was like beautifully done, very minimal, and it actually outputs the GPX file, which is kind of tracks your GPS locations. So I thought it was beautifully done. So, and it's an open source project too, which has a license that allows you to use their code, but you need to keep your project open source as well to continue to let other people use your code, which is perfectly fine. I'm all for the ethos of open sourcing, and that's when I started. So it wasn't that bad at all. Like I kind of already kind of had an idea of what the app should be, and it was just slowly working with Claude to manifest that out. And it took about 3 weeks, but in the end it was done, and it was beautiful. I thought the only hiccup which didn't really catch until after it was released, after 1.0 was released, was that because this is getting a little technical, but because I was building the archive file, the build locally to send it to TestFlight, which is like the beta program Apple use, and it builds perfectly fine. Like all the secrets gets injected into the build, like Macbox, which is like the map that I use, the map service that I use, and as well as the weather kits API stuff. And it was fine and all, and it started, I wanted to automate the whole release process. So I started using GitHub Action to automate the release process. It turned out that Claude had completely forgot to put the map secret. Oh, the whole migrating to GitHub Action was a tough task in the sense that there was so much nuances to automate it, because Apple requires all these developer certificates and profiles and all of these like things that you had to get it right in order to even upload your build into the Apple App Store. So that was in itself a task. And somewhere along the way, we had completely forgot to inject the secrets of the map box as well as the API for the weather kit. And and so I released that without knowing, because my phone has the older cached build that has the secrets. So my phone was working perfectly fine until like I was sending out to my yoga teacher, and I was like previewing along with her. It's showing how it works, and that was a beautiful app that was what she needed, I guess. And I noticed that there was like a black screen like on the map. And at first I thought it was her screen, but only later, a day later, when I was walking with my app, and I noticed the weather icon on the map is gone. So what happened? So I went back to ask Claude about it, and it turned out we found this big issue. And I had already sent out to my friends and family and whatever to these people about the release. So they downloaded and they saw it's like a black map. In a way it's like funny, but it's also like I was feeling bad about like why did this happen kind of thing. And I can't do anything about that. At the same time, it's very coincidental that I had already submitted a patch release version to add the review and share feature into the app. And it got rejected, first of all. Like my first build was, the 1.0 was like flawless. Within like 4 hours after submitted, they approved it. But the 1.0.1, it got rejected. And it got rejected for a reason that wasn't even the code. It wasn't even the what I pushed. It was like related to something the main build that I had done. So it got rejected, so I tried to fix it. And over the weekend, it never processed. They never processed the review. So I saw it wasn't getting processed, and we saw the bug too, so I had to fix that. So on Saturday night, I completely just removed the other rejected version and then put a new version, 1.1, with some features that I already work on, with actually including the podcast ability to submit your voice ability, and along with the fix, and push that out. Now, literally on Sunday morning, I saw it was already approved. So there's something about, timing and what is trying to happen kind of thing, kind of feel to it. So it meant not for me to submit the previous version, because there was already something wrong that I had no idea about, right? So anyways, now it's good. I sent out a message to everyone that I had submitted, or I had messaged that, there might be some issues with the previous build, so please update and try it out again. And yeah, now it's working great. There's quite a few people that loves it, and I feel like there's more to be done with this app that I'm very excited about. Kind of like the walk together ability, where you can do group walks together, group pilgrimage together in a mesh network. So it's kind of like their airdrop ability, where you only within the vicinity of someone can you start a group, and you can walk together. And at the end, the group leader who started the mesh network, the group walk, can share the walk with everyone, and it will be displayed on a website, just kind of like the share the walk, but with multiple people with different color lines. And actually, let's go through the process of what the program app is. So you start the program app. There is 3 option settings, or 3 tabs on the bottom. There's path, journey, and setting. And path that's where most of your time will be at. Is you start the wander, and wander is you just start a walk, you wander around. There is no definitive place that you got to go. And once you start the walk, there's 2 additional options. One is talk, and the other one is meditate. when you start to talk, you can actually do multiple talks. When the inspiration hits, you can push talk and start talking. And when you're done, just hit end talk, and it will continue. You can start to talk again, and it will be in the same walk. So there's one walk, but you can have multiple talks and multiple meditations. And when you click meditation, a meditation screen will pop up. There's like a breathing cycle that does different kind of breathing patterns, like box breathing or calm breathing, like 4 inhale and 4 exhale, deep breathing. And there's soundscape sounds which you can play during the meditation. There's 7 variety of ambiance noise, as well as guides. There's 7 guides with their distinct personalities and voices, and they give kind of guided meditation along the way. And also during the walk too, you can have guided walks. There's random times they will say something during your walk to kind of, keep you on your toes, keep you in the present moment, to bring you back into the present, to question things during the walk. Or actually, soundscape works during the walk as well if you want that ambient sound when you're walking with your AirPods or something. And that's the whole basis. After you finish your walk, you can end the walk, and you get a post summary of your walk, including where all the lines are traced, and they're traced by colors, by how long there's like a color line for your walk and the color line for your talk, and there's like a circular thing for when you meditated. Well, actually it has its own line color as well, but it's also pinpoint where you meditated. It could be you're sitting down for meditation, but also could be that you are walking meditation. You could be walking as well. And each walk, you get a digital Goshen stamp, like a seal. Well, so the cool thing about this, it's crazy that that this thing even existed, because some spontaneous event led me and Claude to discover this, and I thought it was like an awesome, brilliant idea, where you get these almost like a unique signature for your walk, because the signature is based on a hashing algorithm, SHA-256, which is kind of like the Bitcoin. If you're into cryptocurrency, that's how Bitcoin generates these hashes to the SHA-256. And it's the hash length is always the same, but you change one little thing, it's completely different. So the digital seal is the same thing. It hashes your walk time, your distance, your steps, and all of that. It hashes all of that to generate a unique digital signature in the form of a seal, which they call it Goshen in Japan. You carry this book of like a pilgrimage book, and then you go to different temples and shrines, and then they have their own stamps at the temple. It's like a collection of these seals. So you get that in the pilgrim. And then if you go to your journey tab, you can see all of your journeys, and then you click into it. There's actually a floating icon, a Goshen icon on the bottom right, and you can see filter of your walk based on the Goshen seal signs. You can see all of that, as well as you can mark your walk with 3 variety of options. You can filter by that as well. So the pilgrim journey screen is beautifully done. There is dark mode and light mode that you can switch on and off in the settings, and they look beautiful in both. There's like this wabi-sabi feel to this whole app, and yeah, it's I really dig the aesthetic of the app. And there's a lot of options for you to play in the settings. There's the always set intention when you start the walk. So everything gets put into a context window, and so your walk gets your talk during the walk gets transcribed, and that gets into the context of when you want, at the post walk summary, there is AI generated prompts which contains all of your context for the walk. And depending on the one you choose, it could be gratitude, it could be reflective, contemplative, journal, writing, all of that. It gives like the preamble prompts, like just like a pretext prompt, as well as all of your context of your walk. And at the bottom, there's like different questions pertaining to each category for the AI to answer for you. So you can do some kind of reflection with the AI, which is great for ideas, for what are you trying to get out of. Yeah, so those kind of things, I feel like it's nice. There's settings for astrology we call celestial awareness. So if you turn that on, it tells you like planetary alignments, because these greater shifts in not just lunar cycles, but just planetary in general, it affects all of us. And if you think about the moon, how it affects the water, Earth water, it's gonna cover like 70% of Earth, how it affects that affects everyone that lives on Earth. And not just lunar. And now we have like different planets shifting in our galaxy, as well as not just our galaxy, but like the greater area of the universe, part of the universe. So there's that. You can inject, if you turn that on, the celestial awareness with the planetary signs of the planets, where they are in relation to us. That gets injected into the context. And there's voice guides that you can turn on. You can download the voice packs. So each of the guy, you have to click to download their pack. And that pack has a bunch of audio files pertaining to the walks as well as the meditation. They have various different prompts. And you can also export your data. So all data is yours. There's nothing that goes into any server. Everything is stored locally. If you don't export your data, everything gets lost. So there's an ability to export your walks, export it into this format called .pilgrim, which contains all of your transcription, everything about the walk except the audio, which you can export separately into like a zip file. And if you want, you can, near the middle of it, there's a thing called View Your Journey tab. You click on that, and then it opens a browser, but the browser is local, and it injects the .pilgrim file into your local browser, so nothing touches the server, and it loads your journey into a local browser website, and you can see all of your journey in this beautifully laid out way. And you can even generate keepsake, like an image, like a digital image that looks like a beautifully done postcard, as well as a animation, like a WebM video animation. It's like a 3 to 4 seconds long that draws out the whole entire thing, which you can, use for social media or whatever. But the image itself looks really beautiful. It's pertaining to your walks and throughout the whole journey, throughout the whole year, kind of thing. So I think that's pretty much it. There's more features to be done. And the one I'm excited about is actually just building out pilgrimage packs, where you download the map for each of the pilgrimage, like Camino, Shikoku, Kumamoto. So you can download the map from Mapbox, like that area, as well as different guide points, waypoints. So I created another open source repo called Open Pilgrimages, which kind of gets all the data from another open source project and then lay our own curation on top of it. And there's like all these waymarkers, all these places that you should be aware of, and also can inject historical context. So the AI can actually narrate, the voice guides can narrate the historical context when you're close by at a place and triggers it. And all of that would be loaded. You'll have to download ahead of time, and that will be loaded into your device. So you have the map and all the sounds and everything locally, so you don't even need connection when you're traversing a pilgrimage, because that's one of the big issues of doing pilgrimages is you get like either no connection or spotty connection, so until you get to a hotel or something. So that's what I'm excited about. That's going to be like 2.0 essentially. But it will be a large thing, but it will be done beautifully, I think. I just gotta go on the pilgrimage route and actually test it. I wonder how to test it locally without actually going there. That's a separate discussion. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So another reason why I made this is because throughout my travels around the world, I like to wander. I don't have any agenda or anything. I just go wherever I feel like it the day of. And sometimes it could just wander. That's the whole basis for wandering, right? Which I like. And so I'm a digital minimalist, or just a minimalist in general. So that's why I carry with one backpack. I one bag everywhere. So I don't have much. That's why I can't buy a Goshen stamp book, because that just weighs on top of that. So I have to be light, and this is a perfect digital companion for my wandering adventures around the world when I travel. And in a sense, I built it for myself, but thought to share with others because I feel like others might want it too. And there's something about, what Rick Rubin, I feel like his philosophy perfectly captures this, which is, the creative act, and how, he doesn't know music, but he knows what feels good to him, what sounds good to him, and that's enough. That's enough to him to like what resonates with him, and eventually boils down everything to their essence. And that's his whole philosophy. And if he doesn't care if other people like it or not, he just knows that if he likes it, I'm sure there are other people out there in the world that will like it too. And that's how he does his producing, or production kind of thing. So yeah, let's end here. Maybe I have more to say, but right now I'm going to chill on this lake deck area near a gym. Thought to meditate for a little bit, and here we are. I forgot to say that there is quite a bit of hidden stuff in the app that you have to play around with and see how, just play around. Like one of the things about switching your guides, you have to hold the breathing circle, and after maybe 2 seconds will the list pop up, and you can change either the breathing pattern as well as the guide's voice, and also the soundscape. If you hold or you press it, you can turn it, pause it, and if you hold it, you can switch the soundscape, the ambient sound as well. And so the whole Pilgrim on the Path podcast is just whoever wants to submit their walk with their talk, it will get uploaded to a private GitHub repo, which turns into an issue, and it has all of your data. So the only way that you're able to submit this is if you're share your walk. If you share your walk, then you have the ability and you have to consent, that's fine, to submit your recording as well as your transcription, all of your walk context to this private repo, which only I have access. And it will get stitched up together into only the intro and the ending will be kind of narrated by a specially picked personality guide, a guy with a personality out of the 7, to narrate your summary of what had transpired in your walk, as well as putting a little quick ending at the end. And if you have multiple talks throughout, there is intermission with bell sounds in between. It's kind of like marking, it's almost like an intermission between your talks. So you will hear, you probably just heard it. There's an intermission, a bell. The bell will actually be picked as well. It's a different bell per each of the guide as well. So there's a little variation between each of the episodes, just the guide's voice and the bell sound. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, hope you enjoy this podcast. I imagine most of them just be solo talker, just one person talking, but I can imagine there could be 2 people talking, just having like a walk and talk. Actually, before this, before I'm doing this right now, I had a walk and talk with a friend that actually invited me to the Writers Club, and we just, in the same path, the same trail, we walked and we talked for maybe about 40 minutes or so. And he shared the walk and then he shared his voice. So now I checked after that it is a GitHub issue. So after this is released, our talk will be next. And hope you enjoy that. And I look forward to just just like having more walk and talks with just one-on-one with some other person. Could be friends, could be just random stranger too, who knows? And just strap on a DJI mic. We have one receiver, but 2 little mics that we attach to our shirts, and with the little wind buffer thing, and it's perfect. And I think it should block out all the wind, because when I did a test talk just using the iPhone microphone, there's a lot of windiness in the back. But I think with this DJI mic I purchased quite a while ago, it's never really used, but now it's actually put into good use, that this should work great. Who knows? Let's see. So that is it, and hope you guys enjoy and have a wonderful day wherever you are listening to this. Okay, one last thing. There in the app, there is one feature that I really like, is like a seasonality thing, where every season, 4 seasons, every season there's a little bit difference in terms of like the ambiance, in terms of the design. There's a little difference in the app as well as on the website, on the pilgrim.org website, and the podcast too. There is different feel to it with different seasonality. So check that out, see if you notice. There's also, I always enjoy the light and dark modes, but there's a kind of like a galaxy mode in the podcast page, podcast.pilgrimapp.org. There's like a galaxy mode, so try to play with that. See if you can actually find it, how to get it to work, and just play around with it. Like, it's all about play. Like, I think right now, it's the age of play. You have to be curious enough that curiosity which drives you, which fills you with that energy, that creative energy, that makes me want to get up early to basically start having dialogues with Claude all day and really see what comes out of it. And it's that energy, that creative energy, that propels one to explore what's the edge of capability. There are some times where I have no idea that's even possible, but AI made it possible, kind of thing. Because right now I don't really touch code at all. It's just me having dialogues, just having conversations with Claude. And it's the idea of just dreaming what's capable and push that limit to see where the edge is. And there's the edges are expanding and disappearing. So it's very interesting how all this will shape out, because the crazy thing is AI is exponentially growing. It's on a crazy curve. And there's a thing about, the rule, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger said this, it's like the rule of 72. So you use 72 divided by the rate, they apply it to interest rate, but you can't apply it to anything. Or not interest rate, just like the growth rate of your investment. So let's say your annual rate of return is 10%, and you use 72 divided by 10, you get 7.2, which is, it takes 7.2 years to double your money. And it's that doubling, that's what's called exponential. And that's what's crazy about AI, because it's doubling right now at every 7 months, which is crazy. It's like something like 100%, more than 100% something. It's ridiculous, and we have no idea where the edge is. I mean, Moore's law kind of started out 20 something years ago, and is still going. And I mean, right now we're pushing on the edge, so who knows when that law will be broken. But every 2 years, the transistors shrink a half, or just the costs shrink by half, which means it's doubling, the number of transistors doubles. So the rate of exponentiality is very interesting, because human minds cannot think in terms of exponentiality, because our mind thinks in terms of linear. And there's simple kind of thought experiment of a paper that you keep folding, which essentially you're doubling the piece of paper. How many folds does it take for it to reach the moon from Earth? Usually people guess in the thousands or hundreds of thousands, but it's actually 42. And then how long does it take to get? I think it's like to the edge, to the end of galaxy or something. I think it's like 108, which is like aptly named at 108. Speaking of which, there's a lot of sacred numbers stuff in the app itself. There's various ways to trigger sacred numbers. So it's like, I guess like hidden stuff that you won't even notice. But it's all about the details. I feel like you have to put little things in there that only you really know. Others might not pay attention to, but it's that little details that really adds up. And I really like one of the quotes actually from John Wick 4. Winston said to the count, I forgot his name. Anyways, he said, how you do anything is how you do everything. So it's the little things that you do that makes up everything that you do, right? So I really like that philosophy. And yeah, so that's it. A little extra notes, but enjoy your day.
They built it for themselves, and then they shared it with the world. That is how all the good things start.